Welcome to the CompTIA Project Plus Prepcast by BareMetalCyber.com. Change control in project environments refers to the structured management of modifications to infrastructure, software, or operational systems. These changes may be small in scope or have a wide-reaching impact, but in all cases they must be planned, approved, implemented, and validated in a way that minimizes disruption. A disciplined change control process reduces risks such as service interruptions, configuration errors, or security gaps. Project managers play a central role in ensuring that changes are coordinated across teams, documented accurately, and communicated effectively to all stakeholders. Changes can be grouped into several categories depending on their nature and the type of systems involved. Infrastructure changes may include adjustments to servers, network configurations, or storage systems. Software changes often involve applying patches, upgrading versions, or deploying new releases to production environments. Operational changes can include updates to security settings, modifications to permissions, or refinements to business processes. By understanding the scope and potential impact of each category, a project manager can ensure that changes follow the appropriate governance and testing procedures. Scheduling change windows is a critical step in reducing the impact on business operations. Downtime planning involves selecting a period when system usage is at its lowest, often during off-peak hours, to perform the required work. This helps reduce the number of users affected and lowers the risk of significant operational disruption. When selecting a change window, project managers must weigh the urgency of the change against its potential impact and coordinate with affected departments to ensure that service levels are maintained wherever possible. Evaluating the potential risks and impacts of downtime is an essential part of preparing for a change. Risks can range from minor inconveniences for a small user group to major service interruptions that halt critical business functions. The impact may extend beyond internal teams to external customers, suppliers, or regulatory bodies. Project managers should work with technical teams to assess each potential risk, document the likely effects, and develop mitigation measures. This assessment becomes part of the formal change plan and informs decisions on timing, communication, and contingency measures. Communication before downtime is just as important as the technical work itself. Stakeholders must be informed of the planned service interruptions well in advance to allow them to adjust their schedules and avoid critical work during the affected period. Notification should include the scope of the change, the exact timing and duration of downtime, and the points of contact for questions or incident reporting. Project managers should use multiple channels, such as email bulletins, intranet postings, and project dashboards, to ensure that the message reaches everyone who may be affected. Before a change is executed, validation of the plan and readiness of the systems involved is required. This step ensures that all prerequisites, such as updated documentation, compatible versions, and resolved dependencies, are in place. The change should also be reviewed for potential conflicts with other scheduled work or operational requirements. Project managers often coordinate with a change advisory board, where applicable, to obtain formal review and approval of the plan. Pre-change validation reduces the likelihood of errors and ensures that all stakeholders have a shared understanding of what will occur. Backing up data before implementing a change is a safeguard that protects against irreversible loss. Backups may include complete system images, configuration snapshots, or copies of critical data files. These backups must be verified to ensure they can be restored quickly and accurately if needed. The recovery plan should specify how backups will be accessed, who is responsible for initiating restoration, and what steps will be followed if the change must be rolled back. Project managers should confirm with technical leads that all backup tasks are completed before work begins. A rollback plan provides a clearly defined procedure for reverting the system to its prior state if the change fails or causes unacceptable issues. This plan must include a step-by-step sequence, identification of required tools, and assignments for the personnel who will carry out the rollback. Timing is also critical. Delays in executing a rollback can extend downtime and increase the overall impact on operations. Project managers should verify the rollback plan's readiness during the approval process and ensure that the team is trained in executing it under time-sensitive conditions. Change approval and authorization is a formal step that ensures the change has been reviewed by the appropriate technical, business, and compliance authorities. This process prevents unauthorized or poorly planned changes from being introduced into the environment. Approvals are documented to create an audit trail for future reference, especially in regulated industries. Project managers track the approval status and follow up with any outstanding sign-offs to keep the change schedule on track while maintaining governance requirements. Executing the change according to a detailed implementation plan is essential for maintaining control during the process. This plan should include a checklist of all tasks, in the correct sequence, with responsible parties assigned for each action. Checklists help prevent omissions, ensure quality, and provide a record of the work performed. Project managers oversee execution to ensure that tasks are completed as planned, deviations are documented, and any emerging issues are addressed promptly. Real-time monitoring during and after the change allows technical teams to detect problems as soon as they occur. Monitoring tools track system performance, network activity, and application behavior, generating alerts if any metric falls outside acceptable thresholds. This allows the team to take immediate corrective action, which may include initiating a rollback. Project managers should confirm that monitoring is active and that the response team is ready to interpret alerts and take necessary action. After the change is implemented, post-change validation ensures that all systems are functioning as expected. This involves running functional tests to confirm that intended improvements are in place and conducting regression tests to verify that existing functionality has not been unintentionally disrupted. User feedback should also be collected to identify any issues not detected by technical tests. Project managers document these results and confirm that acceptance criteria have been met before considering the change fully implemented. Once validation is complete, the final status of the change must be communicated to stakeholders. This includes confirming whether the change was successful, rolled back, or completed with known issues requiring follow-up. Any deviations from the plan or unresolved problems must be clearly documented and escalated as needed. The project manager updates the change log with the final outcome and archives all related documentation to maintain a complete record for audit and reference purposes. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. When a change fails to meet its intended objectives or causes unintended disruptions, a root cause analysis must be conducted. This process involves examining system logs, reviewing configuration changes, and evaluating the sequence of events during the change window. The goal is to identify the precise reason for the failure so that corrective actions can be implemented and similar issues prevented in the future. Project managers play a role in coordinating this analysis, ensuring findings are documented, and communicating them to both technical and business stakeholders. Every change event provides an opportunity for continuous improvement, regardless of whether the outcome was a success or a failure. Lessons learned sessions allow teams to reflect on what worked well, what did not, and where adjustments are needed. Project managers facilitate these discussions, ensuring that action items are recorded and tracked. Updates may be made to checklists, templates, approval processes, or technical procedures to enhance the effectiveness of future changes. Documenting these improvements builds institutional knowledge and raises overall process maturity. Maintaining a complete and accurate change management log is critical for compliance, operational transparency, and troubleshooting. This log should detail the individuals involved, the scope of the change, the time it was implemented, the risk classification, and the outcome. Any rollback details or deviations from the original plan must be included. Project managers are responsible for ensuring that this record is updated promptly and stored in a location where it can be retrieved during audits, internal reviews, or post-implementation evaluations. For significant or high-risk changes, many organizations rely on a change control board or a change advisory board to review and approve the work. These boards are typically composed of representatives from IT, business operations, compliance, and other relevant functions. They bring diverse perspectives to the evaluation process, helping to anticipate potential problems and ensuring alignment with strategic priorities. Project managers must prepare clear, complete documentation for these boards and represent the project's interests during the review. Change requests must be prioritized to ensure that resources are allocated effectively and that urgent needs are addressed promptly. Emergency changes may follow an expedited process, but they still require proper documentation and, if possible, post-implementation review. Routine changes are usually grouped into planned maintenance windows to minimize disruption. Project managers coordinate this scheduling, aligning changes with project milestones, system availability, and the needs of dependent teams or business functions. Engaging stakeholders early in the change process improves awareness, reduces resistance, and helps secure the necessary support for implementation. This engagement may involve workshops, meetings, or one-on-one discussions with key users and decision-makers. By understanding stakeholder concerns and incorporating their feedback, project managers can build consensus and smooth the path to approval. Ongoing communication ensures that all affected parties remain informed about progress, risks, and upcoming milestones. Comprehensive documentation is a requirement for most formal change control processes. This documentation includes the initial request, risk and impact assessments, approval records, implementation checklists, test results, and final closure reports. Maintaining these records ensures that the change can be fully reconstructed for auditing or incident investigation purposes. Project managers are responsible for collecting and organizing all required materials, as well as ensuring that they are stored securely in accordance with organizational policy. A structured risk assessment framework provides a consistent way to evaluate changes. This framework considers factors such as the scope of the change, the technical complexity, the potential impact on business operations, and any regulatory or contractual implications. Risks may be classified as low, medium, or high, with corresponding approval and testing requirements. Project managers ensure that the risk assessment is completed and that identified risks are mitigated through planning and control measures before work begins. In Agile or DevOps environments, the pace of change can be rapid, requiring a balance between speed and governance. Agile teams may use simplified approval workflows, relying on frequent releases and automated testing to maintain quality. DevOps practices such as continuous integration and continuous delivery embed validation into the deployment pipeline. Project managers in these settings must adapt traditional change control principles to fit faster delivery cycles without sacrificing oversight or quality assurance. Clear escalation and notification procedures are essential for managing change approvals and responding to issues during implementation. These procedures specify who to contact, under what circumstances, and how quickly a response is required. Notification tools such as automated alerts, messaging platforms, or incident management systems help ensure that information reaches the right people at the right time. Project managers incorporate these procedures into runbooks and ensure that the team is trained to follow them consistently. The final acceptance and sign-off for a change indicate that it has been implemented successfully and that all objectives have been met. This acceptance may require validation from quality assurance teams, business owners, or IT leads. Project managers are responsible for collecting and recording these confirmations, whether through signatures, digital approvals, or formal closure meetings. Sign-off not only marks the end of the change process, but also serves as a formal acknowledgement that the project or operational environment has transitioned to its new state. Coordinating changes across distributed teams requires additional planning to address differences in time zones, working hours, and language. Shared schedules, centralized documentation repositories, and regular virtual meetings help ensure that all participants are aligned and informed. Protocols for handovers between teams in different regions reduce the risk of miscommunication during critical change windows. Project managers must establish these coordination practices early in the project to ensure smooth collaboration when changes are executed. The ultimate goal of change control is to maintain the stability, security, and performance of systems while still allowing for necessary improvements. By combining thorough planning, detailed documentation, clear communication, and rigorous testing, project managers can ensure that changes deliver value without introducing unnecessary risk. Effective change control protects both the technical infrastructure and the people who depend on it, enabling projects to achieve their objectives while maintaining trust with stakeholders. Thank you for listening. Please follow baremetalcyber.com on social media and check out our books at cyberauthor.me.